Once upon a time, in the peaceful area of Oka City, there lived two married couples. The area was quiet, far from the noise of the main city. These couples lived in small rented rooms, and their doors were directly opposite each other. Every morning, as the sun began to rise, the two wives, Ngozi and Anita, would open their doors and greet each other with warm smiles. Their homes were so close that they didn't have to step outside to see one another. Ngozi and Anita were best of friends. Their friendship had bloomed long before they got married, and now they found themselves living as neighbors. It seemed like destiny had a hand in bringing them together. Anita gave birth to her first child, a beautiful baby girl, and joy filled her home. The little one was cherished by both parents and became the center of the world. As the years went by, Anita welcomed 3 more children into her family, each one bringing more happiness and laughter. Their days were filled with the sounds of little giggles and the chaos of a caring, growing family. Meanwhile, Ngozi was faced with a mix of joy and longing. She was happy for her friend, but couldn't help but feel a little sadness. Why wasn't she blessed with children? Ngozi had always dreamed of being a mother, but so far, that dream hadn't come true. The happiness in Anita's life was a reminder of what Ngozi had deeply desired. As time passed, the close friendship between Ngozi and Anita began to change. The two had once spent hours together, sharing stories and dreams. Now Anita was often preoccupied, juggling the demands of motherhood and managing a growing household. She had little time to spend with her friend, and Ngozi felt the distance between them. As time went on, Ngozi found herself struggling with the feelings of jealousy. It was hard for her to watch Anita's life, full of children and joy, while she remained childless. Each time she heard the laughter of Anita's children from across the way, it deepened the ache in her heart. At first, she tried to push her feelings aside. She knew she should be happy for Anita, but the bitterness inside her grew every day. Anita, on the other hand, began to sense the change in their friendship. She noticed how Ngozi no longer dropped by like she used to. And whenever they saw each other, there was an uncomfortable silence between them. One afternoon, as Anita walked her youngest to sleep, she thought to herself, "It's like Ngozi is keeping her distance from me." One day, as Ngozi was sweeping the front of her home, she noticed Anita's husband, Papa Shola, walking down the path with a beautiful white bundle in his arms. Curious, she watched as he approached her door and handed it to Anita, who received it with joy. Ngozi's heart sank as she saw the joy on her friend's face as she opened the gift to reveal a gorgeous wrapper in vibrant colors, the kind that Anita had always admired. Ngozi's heart filled with jealousy. Why can't my husband do something like that for me? She wondered. That evening, when Ngozi's husband returned from his workshop, Ngozi couldn't hold back her feelings any longer. As he walked in, she confronted him, her voice tinged with frustration. "Why can't you buy me gifts like Papa Shola buys for Anita? Look at how he makes her smile," she said, her words harsh after a long day's work. "Why are you disturbing me, Ngozi?" "You know I am doing my best," he replied, his voice flat. "Besides, you didn't give me any children." She expects me to buy gifts like Papa Shola does for Anita. Ngozi felt her cheeks flush with anger and hurt. "That's not fair. Just because we don't have children doesn't mean I don't deserve to be treated with love," she replied, her voice rising. "Listen," her husband said, shaking his head. "People are calling him Papa Shola now, forgetting his name. But what do they call me? They call me Adamu, the man with no children. Do you think I want to hear that? I don't want any more reminders of what we don't have. So please, let me be and go make my food." His words stung, leaving her heart aching. It was painful to hear him refer to their situation so bluntly. She felt alone, frustrated, and now his words made her feel even smaller. One day, while Anita was washing her clothes, the sun shone brightly in the sky. She felt a sense of satisfaction as she scrubbed away the dirt. After washing the laundry, she spread the clothes outside, enjoying the fresh air, with the clothes fluttering in the breeze. She decided to take her children to the clinic for vaccination. However, as she arrived at the clinic, dark clouds began to gather overhead. Anita took care of her children, hoping the rain would hold off until she returned home. Unfortunately, by the time she left the clinic, the sky had opened up and heavy rain poured down. Anita watched helplessly as the rain soaked her children's clothes and the clothes she had hung outside. Feeling frustrated and overwhelmed, she remembered that she had asked Ngozi to help her remove the clothes if it started to rain. Ngozi was supposed to be there for me, she thought. When she finally got home, she saw the wet clothes still hanging outside. Her anger boiled over. Without thinking twice, she marched over to Ngozi's house, knocked sharply on the door, and when Ngozi opened it, her expression was a mix of surprise and confusion. Anita exclaimed, unable to hide her frustration, "I asked you to help me. I told you to take in the clothes if it started to rain, but you didn't do anything." Ngozi crossed her arm with a defensive look on her face. "Is it me who told you to spread your clothes outside? You should have known better than to leave them out in the open. It is not my fault it rained," she snapped. Anita felt a wash of hurt as Ngozi dismissed her concern entirely. "You used to be my friend, Ngozi. I thought you would help me when I needed it," Anita said, raising her voice. But Ngozi remained cold. "I am not responsible for your decisions. If you wanted to keep your clothes safe, you should have thought ahead," she replied sharply. A heavy silence hung between them. Anita's heart sank as she realized the depth of the change in their relationship. It was clear that Ngozi no longer cared for her the way she used to. The bond that once connected them now felt frayed and broken. Years passed, and the silence between Ngozi and Anita grew deeper. They both continued to keep their distance, each woman holding onto her pride. Despite the rift in their friendship, their husbands, Adamu and Papa Shola, exchanged small talks whenever they crossed paths. But their conversations were always superficial, lacking the warmth and depth that true friendship brings. Anita had 5 children now, each one a bundle of joy. As they grew, They filled the compound with laughter, their voices rising as they played games around the yard. They played tag, hide and seek, and all sorts of games that kept them active and entertained. The sight of them playing brought a smile into Anita's face. Even on the most tiring days, she shared their laughter, a sound that echoed through her home, reminding her of the joys of motherhood. Meanwhile, Ngozi watched from home, torn between happiness for Anita and the familiar ache of jealousy that had lingered over the years. The sight of the children playing brought back memories of the life she had once dreamed of, a life filled with her own children. Despite the growing distance between them, the silence remained between the two women. Anita has always been a diligent mother, trying her best to instill good habits in her children. One of her frequent reminders was to keep their slippers inside at night. "You must remember to bring your slippers inside before it gets dark," she would tell them.